You've got to shoot this bit, Margaret. You've got to shoot it.
Let's just keep it a secret. Did you go there, Rob?
We've definitely got our finger on the pulse when it comes to gear, right? Who cares what the base layer looks like?
Just open your chimney and the heat comes out, Rob.
Du Villard.
Du
Villard, yes. Yeah, it takes a while for me to delayer down to my base layer, I've got to be honest, Dom.
Don't talk about spring skiing. It's only December. Hello, peak retreats. It's Dom in the snow. Do you remember me? Could be what I'm going to do next weekend. So welcome listeners to this week's episode of the Whiteout Podcast, the 9th episode already. I'm Dom Killinger, I'm publisher in the snow, and I'm here with my co-host. What can I say about it? It's one of Santa's helpers, Rob. This week, are you grumpy? Are you happy? Are you sleepy, sneezy? Maybe dopey's the one?
Yeah, maybe dopey. Yeah, I'm... It is great to be back, Dom, and I'm glad you kept that intro short this week, because I think actually, maybe you described me as grumpy.
Oh no, you're grumpy this week. What's going on? What's happened?
Well, I think it's because we're well into December and I haven't actually been skiing yet. First world problems and all that. But all I see is coming out of social media all day long, every day, all of the time, in my dreams now as well, which now basically nightmares, right? Is snow.
Yeah, well, maybe you're going to be the 8th dwarf. Maybe you're spoilt. Can't complain, Rob. We definitely do got our fair share. I don't think we can afford to be too worried about this, can we?
I'll take the 8th dwarf. So I've definitely got FOMO, but also maybe it's a quick opportunity to do a shout out to our friend, James Palmer Tompkinson, because he's been giving me FOMO. Yeah, every Friday he sends out this very, very nice little email with a picture from his sort of base in the Alps, cloisters in Switzerland, and the email's called Friday Mountains. I love it. Every week, I haven't seen it this morning actually. Every week I get it. It gives me FOMO, but I still like it, and it's very nice. Always just a little simple email with a picture on of the local ski area. You can sign up to that. Just go to their website, ptski.com, and his email address is there. James runs a ski school in Cloisters.
Ah, right. I'll have to go and check that out. Mind you, I have to say, they're running a ski magazine. I get literally dozens of emails and messages through social media with pictures of snow on them, and I'm sitting here at my desk, working away, bashing the keyboard, thinking, goodness gracious, all these people having a fantastic time. Am I doing the right job? One day, I might just pack it all up and go and run it from the mountains. Maybe that's the plan.
Yeah, it's a good plan. I might do that as well one day.
Well, it's time to look at what we've got in store this week, Rob, and it's now officially winter. There's a lot going on. There is. What have we got this week?
We've got our usual news roundup, our weather report, our gear reviews, our resort focus, and bucket list trip. Plus, we've got some listener questions, which is one of our sort of more recent additions to the podcast. Do you want to start with the news this week, Dom?
Yeah, absolutely. Before we do that, though, Rob, it's time to mention today's sponsors, Ski Independence and Canada's Alberta. So the team at Ski Independence have been sending customers to Alberta ski resorts for almost 30 years. With oodles of personal experience, they know all the best places to stay, the best travel options, and everything in between. From Banff's best après-ski locations, easy for you to say, to breathtaking scenery at Lake Louise, and how to get the best out the multi-centre itinerary. They're highly recommended road tripping up the spectacular Icefields Parkway between Lake Louise and Jasper for an experience like no other. So I would suggest go visit ski-i.com/Alberta to find out more about booking Canada's Alberta with tailor-made specialist Ski Independence. So there you go, Rob. That's our sponsors for this week. Ski Independence that took me on my famous first holiday to Whistler. A quick reminder to listeners, while you're listening, your review really counts. It's not just vanity for us, it's about being found by other like-minded skiers. So please do quickly go ahead and leave us a review, whether you're listening on Apple or Spotify or any of those other podcast directories. Do leave us a review. And if you're not enjoying the podcast, let's just keep it a secret. So, Rob,
Who's not going to enjoy the podcast?
Exactly. We've had some immense feedback recently. That's good. So I think we're doing all right, Rob. I think we're doing all right.
Absolutely, always doing all right. And like you say, it's very nice. Any listener out there, we do really appreciate that feedback, and we have been getting some really nice feedback, which is fantastic. It really helps us.
So, heading into the news this week, Rob. First up, Vail buying Crans-Montana. I know we sort of hinted at this a little while ago. It's pretty big news. It looks like they are definitely buying Crans-Montana. It's the second ski resort that the company has bought in Europe, Andermatt being the first. They'll own and operate the lift system, plus a number of resorts, both on and off the mountain, and they've invested in a ski school too. We love this place. We know this place. Rob, you know this place exceptionally well. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, firstly, full disclosure here, because I do actually work with the tourist office in Crans-Montana.
Yeah.
So I have a sort of interest there, and I just want to mention that. Yeah, it is really big news. And of course, it is in part controversial when a large corporation comes along and purchases a European ski area, which they have done before. But what I can say is that locally, it genuinely has been very well received.
Oh wow!
I think this is partly down to sort of bit of a no love lost from the previous owner. Just saying,
okay,
but also enthusiasm for the investment to come as well.
Yeah,
and there's definitely a certain section of people in North America, we know that aren't big fans of Vail resorts for whatever reasons they've got.
Yeah,
but Andermatt saw 10,000 American skier visits last winter.
Wow.
Not bad.
That's pretty spectacular.
Yeah, those skiers, they would have benefited from the Epic Pass, right? That operate.
Yeah, I mean, that is interesting. I wonder, it'll be interesting. I have mixed views about this. I'm a big fan of Vail resorts, and I've spent a lot of time in a chunk of their resorts, and there are more that I'm going to be visiting this winter as well. I wonder if we'll see prices go up, quality change. I wonder if any of that will change in a fabulous resort like Crans-Montana. What do you think?
I don't think quality will go down. Absolutely the opposite. And in regards to the price, they need to remain competitive with a huge amount of other ski areas in the region. They will likely see an increase in US skiers as well. I think that's a tiny number really compared to the overall visitors they will have. So they have to remain competitive. The Valais, Switzerland's a pretty competitive ski region. The Valais is exceptionally competitive ski region.
Yeah.
I think Vail resorts would fully understand they have to cater for their customers. That's what I would say. It sounds a bit of a corporate line, doesn't it? But at the end of the day, that's, I don't see it any other way, really.
So what's next on the news? What else have we got?
Yeah, okay. Well, the Winter Olympics for 2030 and 2034, actually. It's a quick news story, really, but it seems to have slipped under the radar a bit.
Yeah.
The IOC, International Olympic Committee, have announced just over a week ago that the French Alps region, basically stretching from the Savoie down to Nice, they would be the sole candidate for the 2000 Winter Olympics, which essentially is handing it to them before the official announcement in Paris, I believe, next year. It means Sweden and Switzerland both lose out because they were looking to bid. And then for the 2034 games, there's the same fait accompli, if you like, situation for Salt Lake City too. Last time it was held there was 2002. It does appear that the bidding process for these games is kind of changing now. The countries essentially don't seem to be, I don't know, but it looks to me that they're not putting as much into these bids as they were before, and that's how I read it anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see when the official announcement takes place, eh?
Yeah, I believe it's next summer, but it just looks like that announcement will be the Winter Olympics in 2030 is in the French Alps region.
Yeah, that's it. Very good.
What else have you got, Dom?
So Edinburgh Ski Centre gets a makeover. I think I've read this headline quite a few times. I'm just wondering whether we just haven't deleted it after multiple stories. So Edinburgh Ski Centre, otherwise known as Midlothian Ski Centre, sometimes just called Hill End, is having a complete makeover of its base lodge, and it'll be powered completely by renewable energy. They're going to add other features, including a climbing wall, zip wire, mountain biking, mountain coaster. So quite nice things going on there. It's a great facility. You can see the slope from the car park at Edinburgh Castle. It's a great view.
I did work there myself for a short time years ago. I mean, it's a fantastic slope, but it does take a lot of upgrading. There's a lot of ski matting there.
Well, be interesting to see when they get on and do this work, see if it definitely happens. They've not said when it's going to be completed. I think they said sometime in 2025. So maybe a trip to Edinburgh when it's done, Rob.
Oh, yeah, that's a deal.
What else have we got?
Yeah, this is a nice story. The first ski cable car in France turns 90. I mean, it's the kind of story we like, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
90. That's incredible, isn't it?
It's obviously not the same cable car.
Yeah.
That's running in Michelle.
Slightly scary.
It is clearly a smart bit of PR coming out of the Megève tourist office, if we're going to be really cynical about this. But actually, it's the kind of story that makes you think about the history of this fantastic sport and this leisure activity we're involved with, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we fell for the PR.
Yes, we did. The first ski cable car in France was opened 90 years ago in 1933 in Megève. Obviously, that cable car is no longer in operation, but it does highlight how long a resort such as Megève has been operating for.
Incredible. It's
just an hour's drive from Geneva Airport.
Yeah.
Very pleasant, not overly demanding ski area as well. Linking into Saint-Gervais, Combloux. Very nice. And then, with Mont Blanc Unlimited Pass, you can ski Chamonix as well. Definitely planning a visit. I'm planning a visit this winter to that area.
Okay.
So, Dom, weather report.
Yes, indeed. The snow report this week brought to you in association with Ski Weekends. We're getting well into December now. And often at this time of the year, over the past few seasons, we've had these conversations that go something like, what's the snow like? Yeah, it's going to be okay. I mean, there's some snow, there's a few places opening up. There's a bit of rain. There's a little bit of forecast. But I've got to say, this December, looking pretty damn good. There's a lot of snow in a lot of places. Obviously not absolutely everywhere.
It is. I've been trailing the internet's ski resort webcams, and I can happily say, without doubt, without accusations of being overly positive, PR hat aside, and all that the cameras do not lie, and all I see is white, and more white.
I love it. We have to celebrate the fact that we do have great snow conditions across most of the Alps right now, with cold temperatures looking pretty much set to stay for the foreseeable future. Although there will be a bit of warming up early part of this coming week, and lower altitudes in the Western Alps might see a bit of rain up to about 2,000 meters. But that's not going to be affecting snow conditions because it's just short-lived, and heavy snow is forecast around that. I've got somebody out in Val d'Isère at the minute. She said it's absolutely caning down with snow. I've seen the pictures. I've just got a phone call from somebody in Alpe d'Huez, and she showed me the pictures out the window. It's snowing there. So temperatures are set to get colder again. It's looking good. It's looking good. I mean, I'm seriously looking at next weekend,
Yeah, and it is quite normal at this time of year for that to happen. For that sort of temperature change, that fluctuation. For me, the key is this year we have those fronts piling in again with temperatures remaining cold cold enough for snow.
Yeah.
There's no high pressure dominating the scene, which to be honest is fine because it brings cold weather and they can make snow, but still we love to see those fronts coming in.
Yeah, it's good news. I mean, certainly if it carries on, it should be a very, very good season. And obviously we had very good late season last season as well. So, imagine if we just get one big monster long season. I mean, it's great news.
Yeah. Okay, Dom, let's look at some of those more specific highlights then, shall we?
Yeah, absolutely. So round up all resorts around the Alps and further afield. Let's start in Switzerland with Verbier. Looks fantastic there. Great conditions on piste. The off-piste looks a bit tracked down now, but as more of the open areas open up throughout the month, there'll be opportunities, I'm sure. It's very good for this time of year. And that is the same across the whole of the Valais region. In Verbier, there's already 130 centimetres of snow in Lac de Vaud and 50 centimetres in the village. So, yeah, looking pretty damn good there, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I've been in Verbier many times through December, and I would take that amount of snow for sure.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What about Austria?
Yeah, pretty good there. The resort Kitzbühel, which actually has a relatively low altitude, is looking pretty white indeed. There's already a number of lifts operating and more opening up this weekend. Great start to the season there. It's going to warm up a little at the start of next week, but then it'll just get cold again. I've got no concerns about snow remaining there. It looks pretty good towards Christmas.
Ski resorts must be breathing a sigh of relief right now because the snow is there and the forecast is pretty cold enough. Yeah. So you would say that by now we can guarantee a white Christmas in the Alps.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure you can. I mean, there's nothing in the forecast I can see up until sort of mid-late December 20th that suggests any major issues. It does look like sunny and cold conditions will persist a little with a bit of snow up top here and there, which is fine. But as we already have decent snow, then yeah, I think it's highly likely that Christmas won't be anything other than a white one in the Alpine towns. So yeah, looking good.
So let's look at Italy as well and France. What are they looking like?
Well, France, yeah, southern side of the Alps has now had some snow after a slower start, and although the quantities might not be hitting the heights of the northern Alps just yet, you could easily say that conditions are good for this time of the season. Cortina in the Dolomites has 25 centimetres of snow on its slopes, and of course they continue to make a lot of artificial snow as the temperatures remain cold enough over the next couple of weeks, despite the weather showing lots of sunshine.
And it's looking white, isn't it? Sometimes at this time of year you can see that artificial snow, and then the rest is brown around it sometimes early season in the Dolomites. But again, looking at all the webcams at the moment, it's white.
It's white everywhere. And the French Alps are mostly in good situation right now, even down to the lower level. There's snow. There's a bit more in the forecast, a slight warming for a day or two next week, but we're talking a maximum of sort of 2 or 3 degrees down in the likes of Morzine. That's a little lower down, but it's hardly tropical, and then unlikely to see any positive temperatures again this side of Christmas.
What about further afield, Dom?
So Scandinavia, good situation there right now. Norway and Sweden both have very good conditions across the board with cold temperatures, regular snowfalls to come. There's nothing to see, nothing to see here apart from just a lot of snow. I mean, a lot of white, as you said, Rob.
Right. I looked Oslo, the capital obviously of Norway, is going to be -10 next week in the city. So I mean, they're used to that in the winter, but it's a bit nippy, isn't it?
Fantastically cold. Yeah, it is cold.
Yeah.
Where else we got? Andorra, pretty mixed bag, but they have had some recent snow. They were a little bit worried, but the resorts are now open. There's not a massive amount of snow lower down, but some snow forecast this weekend. It will warm up a bit next week, as we've said, but it doesn't look like there's any rain. So that's good news as the temperature is set to get cold again. They can make a lot of snow, and they're looking set for Christmas and New Year. They haven't had the start the Alps had, but it's still okay for this time of the season. So I don't think they've got anything to worry about.
No, Pyrenees generally, it's got a good snow record, hasn't it? And I'm sure with the base they've got now, they can build it from there. It might not be quite as good as the Alps right now, but they're skiing, and it's good news going forward.
Yeah.
What about North America? I mean, I know it wasn't the best start for them in some parts of the Rockies.
No, absolutely. But there's been big improvements, as you'd expect, with recent snowfall and cold temperatures in Colorado. The downhill and Super G race in Beaver Creek cancelled because of bad weather. Conditions are set to be a bit more snow over the next few days, and then sunny and cold for the week ahead. And a bit more about Beaver Creek a little later in this podcast, well worth listening to. Up in Montana, Big Sky. Did you go there, Rob?
I may have done.
Did you?
Earlier this year, yeah.
Not really got going yet there. There's skiing available, but warm temperatures haven't helped. But it is snowing heavily right now. Temperatures getting a bit colder, so could well start to get better. Over in Canada, Whistler's looking pretty good. Got somebody just landed there in midnight our time here. So at the moment, looking pretty good with below freezing temperatures, snow in the forecast, and interior BC, places like Kicking Horse and that, they've got great snow and more to come.
Yeah.
Slightly further afield, Japan, not looking quite as good right now. It's still mild and rain in the forecast, but the good news is that will change into next week, which I think is what we said last week, with temperatures dropping below freezing and snow forecast in Niseko. Could be a lot of snow. You know what Japan's like. They could suddenly get a massive dump and things will change. It looks like winter will start properly next week in Hokkaido. Unfortunately, further down in Hakuba, it's still not looking too good. They're getting a bit of snow, but temperatures aren't set to drop until around the 18th of December. So it's hard to get a true picture of what's going on. It looks like there's some skiing available, but it is pretty limited right now.
Yeah, I'm sure it will change. I'm sure it will change quickly. And when it does, like you said, Dom, it can snow so heavily there.
Just a note to our listeners, we do update more than once a week on where is best to ski now at inthesnow.com, brought to you in association with Ski Weekends. So if you search that on Google or on our site, we pop up, and it's well worth keeping an eye on because we give you a little roundup of all the resorts. And let's face it, we all want to know where is best to ski now. I'm even typing it in myself so that I can go next weekend. And that's our snow roundup for this week. Overall, pretty damn good conditions. Let's go skiing. What else have we got, Rob, this week? What's next? Gear reviews? Nobody does gear better than us, Rob, surely.
Too right, Dom. I mean, we've definitely got our finger on the pulse when it comes to gear, right?
Always. We've both got more backpacks and more sets of skis and not more sets of skis, but we do seem to have an awful lot of gear. So what have we got first, Rob? What have we got first on our list of gear for review this week?
Well, Dom, Dope Pile Fleece Sweater is first up this week.
I saw this.
I know. I love this really warm looking fleece from Dope. It's chunky, it's cozy, and designed to keep you very warm, I would say. It's made from a super soft 285 grams, 100% polyester high loft fleece.
Nice.
The pile offers exceptional warmth and breathability, making it, they say, ideal for exploring snowy resorts or braving colder days on the slopes. And Dope also says, they describe it saying, featuring a chimney-style collar and a convenient quarter-zip design, the pile allows you to easily adjust your comfort level, warm up or cool off effortlessly as needed during your winter adventures.
Just open your chimney and the heat comes out, Rob.
Well, yes. I like that analogy. I'd also like a bit of winter adventure right now, to be honest.
Yeah. You didn't mention that.
Okay. So I'm also going to quote them here. They say the elasticated cuffs ensure that the sleeves stay in place under your ski jacket, guaranteeing maximum coziness. Very cozy. Plus, with its spacious double-zipped hand warmer pocket, you can keep your essential items secure throughout the day. Complete with a drawstring hem and our signature touch of dope styling. Dope styling. The pile fleece will undoubtedly become your favorite companion for the winter season. Stay snug and stylish with the pile this Christmas.
I see. Yeah, no, it's called the pile. I've got it right. How much is that, Rob?
It's £79 and you can get it from ridestore.com. I think they're definitely piling on the spiel there.
But
seriously though, this fleece does look amazing.
Very nice.
Yeah. What have you got, Dom?
So Mons Royal, the Arete Merino insulation hood. I've just got hold of one of these. So whenever I think of Mons Royal, I always think of them as being sort of base layers, but actually this really caught my eye. It's the Arete wool insulation hood, a lightweight layer that keeps you warm in any conditions, apparently, although I think I'd caveat that slightly by saying most cold weather. Anyway, it has an ergonomic cut and merino fleece panels that let you move more freely. It's filled with 100% merino wool insulation that adjusts to your body temperature, even when it's wet. Fits under your shell, really, really nice. Has PFC-free water repellent, which is called DWRC. So it's got that coating on it to water repel. Looks very cool. So, well, that's what everybody says when I wear it. It's warm. It costs 275 quid. So it's pretty high end, quite, on the pricey side. But we know Mons Royal quality. It's really nice.
Yeah.
Do exactly what it says on the tin. So, yeah, buy from futureproof.life.
Well,
yeah.
Okay. Well, I've spotted this women's base layer top from Duvillard.
Duvillard.
It's a brand, Duvillard. It's from the former French ski racer Henri Duvillard. Actually, he last won a World Cup ski race in 1973, but I can tell you his brand is very much 2023.
Yeah.
It is very French, very stylish. It will keep you warm, very warm as well. It's got Clima Stretch poly micro fleece that wicks moisture away from the skin and intricate après-ski embroidery.
Yeah.
So, yeah, very, very cool.
Nice.
Very, very cool. Looks amazing. It's £119 from ellisbrigham.com.
Okay.
But yeah, I think if a very, very stylish looking base layer, and it's interesting. What you might think, well, who cares what the base layer looks like? But you know what it's like. You get you get into the chalet, or you get into an après-ski, and you warm, and you want to look good, and you want a base layer to look.
You're the man who's dancing on the tables in your base layers. I mean, come on, you've got to look good.
Yes. Yeah, it takes a while for me to delayer down to my base layer. I've got to be honest, Dom. I mean, I'd have to be well into the session there and quite
into the Jaeger bombs
down to my base layer. But it has been known.
Yeah. Well, we've got some cool things on the Christmas gift guide there. And also to quickly plug, we have got our best piece skis, best all mountain skis on YouTube, videos and podcast if people want to have a listen to that. We've also got our best ski helmets for the season, as well as how to get comfy ski boots. And while you're tucking into mince pies, keep a watch out, because we're also going to be doing a feature on best ski sunglasses for the spring skiing. Don't talk about spring skiing. It's only December. So, right, good little roundup there, Rob, of gear for this week. And what have we got next?
Resort focus, Dom. So this week, our resort focus is technically 3 resorts in one.
Oh, actually. I like the sound of that. 3 in 1. That sounds like good news, Rob. I like a bit of 3 in 1. Most skiers have probably heard of one of them for sure, but they may not have heard of the other 2. Do you think?
Yeah, true. I mean, we were looking for a resort that was firstly popular with British skiers, but also a little, let's say, different, I suppose.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
And then talking to our friends at Peak Retreats, we got talking about Alpe d'Huez Grand Domaine ski.
Okay.
Which actually comprises of Alpe d'Huez.
Yep.
Oz 3300.
Yep.
That used to be referred to as Ozen-Moisson. And Vaugirard, being those places are amongst their most popular destinations, actually.
Okay, so a quick name check there then, as we tend to skip over these things quite briefly, so because we know these people. But Peak Retreats, tour operators specialising in the French Alps. They're complete experts in their fields. And you can obviously book the Alpe d'Huez Grand Domaine ski with them, whether that be Ozen-Moisson, Oz 3300 as they now call themselves, or Alpe d'Huez or Vaugirard. So you can book with them. They're winners of a Telegraph Travel Awards, Best Ski Operator 2023. They feature loads of quality apartments, self-catered chalets, hotels across the French Alps and the Alpe d'Huez area. So that's who Peak Retreats are, and that's how we've got this information today. So, Rob, I think we've both been there. And funnily enough, totally coincidentally, I've just literally had a phone call before we came onto the podcast, and that's why I was slightly delayed, from a lady in Alpe d'Huez talking about something totally different. But the good news is she literally turned her phone around and lo and behold, out the window, what was it doing? Snowing. So, yeah, another case of FOMO, Rob. So you've been there?
I have been there, Dom, but to be honest, it was a number of years ago. So I'm happy to sort of add my bit. But I know you've been there far more recently, and you know the place well, so maybe you can cover this one off.
You've put me under pressure now. Well, yeah, I'm happy to do so. It's a fantastic ski area. It's big. It's often pretty sunny. It's got a great snow record because it's got great altitude. Generally, it's pretty good on price point as well. It just feels a little easier on the pocket there than it does in some of the larger ski areas or some of the large ski areas. So yeah, you get a lot of bang for your buck.
Yeah, I remember that. I mean, I spent a bit of time there way back, sort of on holiday, but also working there for a bit as well. I had a lot of fun in Alpe d'Huez, and I think it still has that sort of youthful vibe to it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We all know what it means when you say you've had a lot of fun somewhere, Rob.
Well, I spent most of my time on the slopes, Dom.
Okay.
That's where I had most of my fun.
Yeah, I'm sure. So yeah, it's a good opportunity to mention these resorts. They are a little different, and the different resorts do appeal to slightly different people. So firstly, there's Vaugirard. That's the one that I stayed at most recently. It's a really pretty little rustic village, a little bit quieter than the neighbouring Alpe d'Huez. So great for families or people that don't want that larger, bustling atmosphere. It's got the huge cable car, so proper big on, full on. I don't know how many capacity it is, but a lot.
Big, isn't it? Yeah.
Big cable car that takes skiers right into the heart of the ski area very quickly, so you don't get the big queues in the morning like you do in some big resorts. So yeah, you're straight up into the big ski area of Alpe d'Huez. Most of the accommodation here is apartments, and there's some new apartments that have been built, but quite chocolate boxy, and it's kind of right on the edge of the mountain, so you sort of wind up the road and there's more apartments as you go up. So it's very easy to find something very close to the lift. It's nice there. It's not super busy. There's a few restaurants, couple of bars, nice places for a crepe. There is a sports centre there if that's your thing, so that has a pool and a gym, ice skating, bowling and all of that. But it is a quieter resort. To be fair, we went there right at the end of the season, so it was super quiet then. But I have been there during the season, and it's one of those places I think more people stay in, more apartments, and consequently, they're probably cooking in and going out to the odd restaurant. You know, the restaurants were busy while we were there. So, but it's just, you essentially get the nice access to a big ski area without a lot of the fuss. And it was, without a doubt, easier on the pocket when we were there with the family. So, yeah, really nice.
Okay.
So then, yeah, wedged in between, you've got Oz 3300, as we said, formerly known as Oz and Whizzle, as we always used to say. Purpose built again, very pretty, nestled in the forest, very convenient, ski in, ski out, and accommodation there varies between apartments and a very smart club hotel right on the slopes. Do you know that one?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's an all-inclusive hotel, right? So full board.
Yeah. So that's really nice. Exactly.
Okay.
So good choice of lifts there, taking you right into the heart of the ski area. But whilst Oz Vosges is probably more suited to experienced skiers, Oz 3300 is great for beginners with its nursery area right by the accommodation. So it's very, very nice. Okay. So before we go on to the sort of wider ski area, I'll mention the town of Alpe d'Huez itself. It is a large resort, sits at 1,860 metres above sea level. It's snowing there right now as we speak, as I just mentioned. So it's nice and high. It's on a large plateau. It's south-facing too. It's also purpose-built. It's founded in 1936, so a nice eclectic mix of buildings. I mean, you're not going to go there and say, look, this is a chocolate box town in the Alps, but it's got a great amount to offer. I mean, 45 restaurants, loads of bars, cafes, nightclubs, 4 nightclubs, I think, the Folie Douce there. It's got it all, really. The views are spectacular. It's very French, very cool. In fact, I think I might have sold it to myself. I might repeat retreat this and go out next weekend, because I was thinking, where am I going to go? And then I start doing this. So I think, you know what? Hello, Peak Retreats. It's Domaine in the snow. Do you remember me? Could be what I'm going to do next weekend.
Yeah. I tell you what, worse things to be doing on a weekend, going to Alpe d'Huez for a little ski. I agree with all of that as well. Actually, it's been a long time since I've been there, so I do need to go back. But seriously, the skiing, from what I remember, is also very good, right?
Yeah, it is. It's a great ski area. There's a good range of accommodation for all budgets, apartments, hotels, chalets, right up to 5-star stuff, smaller stuff, more affordable, affordable options, sorry. And that's the great thing. I mean, I do, it sounds like we're plugging Peak Retreats, but it's only because we got this information from them. They're great. Yeah. They're absolute specialists at the French resorts, and their expertise in the accommodation side, it's so handy. I have gone on holiday with them multiple times with the family.
Okay.
And you're able to ask them those real intricate questions of, not just has it got a pool, but how far am I going to have to walk outside of those doors before I'm on a lift? And is that steep or is it icy? Or do you know what I mean? They're very, very specific. So, great to be dealing with them. And it's great getting information from them on this sort of stuff.
Yeah. Okay. The skiing, Don. What's it like?
Yeah. So the area is it's known as the Alpe d'Huez Grand Domaine, which basically means it's big. 250 kilometers of piste plus. There's 81 lifts. It's a big ski area. There's a lot of off-piste too. It's high up. Top lift at Pic Blanc, which is 3,330 meters. So it is high. That's one of the highest ski lifts in the Alps. And on a clear day, you can see Mont Blanc to the north. So, it's
quite far away. But
it is. Yeah, it is far away. From Pic Blanc, though, it's a black run. I mean, it is a black run. In fact, it's the longest black run in the Alps, the Sorenne. 16-kilometer long black run, Rob. You must remember that. I'm sure you've done it.
Yeah, I do remember skiing it. I mean, it's not technically the hardest black run.
No.
Then again, it's very long. And in some parts, fairly steep and narrow.
Yeah.
So definitely don't attempt unless you're 100% confident. It's very long. And it's black for a reason, right? So it's marked black for a reason. So.
Yeah, but Rob, it's a good pub story, isn't it? To tell your mates, I've skied the world's longest black run.
Of course it is. Of course it is. Good.
Yeah.
It's a good thing to do.
Yeah.
But, the tunnel, which also starts from basically the same place, right?
Yeah.
It's way tougher. I mean, I seem to remember that was a really, really hairy run in the sort of mold of that steep mogul classic. I'm thinking comparing it to the Swiss wall, to Tortan, to those kind of properly like, it's getting gnarly,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a pretty intimidating slope. But the good news is that out of the 111 slopes in the area, 96 of them, would you believe, are green, blue, or red. So despite the very tough black runs that we've just mentioned, it's actually an absolute intermediates paradise. So, yeah, really, really nice, Rob.
What do you think it's worthy of being in the same sort of category as some of those other sort of very well-known resorts, should we say, in the French Alps?
Well, I think it probably is. When it comes to skiing, this is a big area and it's plenty for most people. There's very few people that are going to go there and be able to ski this whole area. So then it really does depend on what you're looking for. I'd say, yes, it's not as upmarket as some of those super posh resorts, but obviously you don't get the price tag that comes with it either.
True.
Big ski area, good prices, loads of restaurants and bars, great accommodation. For me, it's right up there with them, Rob. It really is.
Okay. So who would you say Alpe d'Huez Grand Domaine is best suited for then?
I mean, it is suited to a lot of people. I mean, let's say you've got a group of people asking what resort I should go to, and that group has a mix of ability levels, and maybe some of them don't have big budget and others might have a few quid and they want to stay on a bit of après. It covers every base. Then with Oz 3330 and Vaugirard, you've got the chance to plug into this great ski area, but in that sort of quieter, more cozier way. So it really does offer it all. I mean, it's good news,
Yeah. So getting there, I mean, how easy is it to get to that area?
Interesting. Like I say, I mentioned the idea of me going out there next week only because of the fact that I started looking at this, and then I thought, actually, that's an area I've not been to for a little while. Maybe that's a good place to go. Where would I fly into? Naturally, the first place I start looking at was Geneva, but actually that's probably not the best option. It's a couple of hours away, just over a couple of hours away. But you fly into Grenoble or Chambry. Grenoble's only an hour and a half transfer away. I think it's about 70 miles or something like that. So it's a really good transfer option. But yeah, it's convenient for all of those airports, Grenoble, Chambry, Geneva. It's also 580 miles from Calais, which obviously that sounds like a lot when you're talking in transfer terms, but I regularly drive down to the Alps and do 900 miles. So actually 580 miles from Calais is pretty good. 8.5 hours, you could knock that out. And of course, the very last part is your 21 hairpin bends up to the resort that they use on the Tour de France. So probably not one for my youngest daughter who isn't keen on the old hairpin bends. But obviously, you could also take the train if you want to. So that's London, Paris, Lyon, Grenoble, and then a drive up. So that's feasible as well. So, yeah, lots of options.
I did a quick look on their website. I could see a really, really nice 2-bedroom apartment in Alpe d'Huez, categorized as luxury. The pictures back that up. Really smart, very comfortably sleeping 4 people and 2 bedrooms, but could go up to 6.
Okay.
And for around a starting price of £2,000 in January for 7 nights. And that's the whole apartment, not per person, whole apartment, and includes a return Eurotunnel crossing, which is a Flexi Plus ticket with a standard car. So basically 500 quid each.
That's a bargain, isn't it?
For the accommodation for 7 nights, including your Eurotunnel crossing. I mean, obviously, your extras are on top of that. But that's a pretty decent deal, I'd say.
A very good deal, that. So, after this nice little resort feature, I would suggest we go ahead, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get on there first so that nobody else can. Go check out peakretreats.co.uk and get all the information about this resort. I love it, Rob. Yep. I think I'm going to go. I actually can feel I'm going to do this.
It's sort of selling it to me as well. I fancy doing that kind of, I do remember the sort of nice contrast of those steep black runs at the top, but then those kind of really, really wide, open, long blues and reds that sort of sweep down towards Alpe d'Huez.
Yeah.
And those, I've still got, even though it was quite a long time ago I was last there, I can still really vividly remember all of those slopes. So there must be something about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And there you go.
Okay.
That's the end of our resort spotlight for this week. What have we got next?
Bucket list, Dom. Bucket list. And I know it's
bucket list.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this because I know you're excited about it. And when you get excited about something,
can you tell?
You know,
oh, crikey.
So, Dom, this week, the bucket list destination is Beaver Creek, right?
Beaver Creek, Rob. There's no denying the fact that Colorado is a bucket list ski destination for all skiers and boarders. And, you know, it is America's most popular state for skiing. So we are talking super cool resorts. And, you know, we've talked about Vail resorts, and Beaver Creek is one of their resorts. So the spring just gone. I'm saying last spring as if it was ages ago, but actually March 30th just gone. We flew out to Denver, grabbed a supersized 4x4, headed 130 miles west on the popular I-70 towards Beaver Creek. Yeah, 130 miles. That should have been, 2 hours? Bearing in mind, we're talking March 31st. So we're just heading into Easter weekend. So you're expecting some nice spring skiing. I've packed some of my thinner base layers. I've packed sunglasses. Get onto the I-70, thinking 2 hours time, we'll be out to dinner at 7:30. This is epic. Yeah, 5.5 hours later and a blizzard. Driving down the motorway, I was doing around about 10 miles an hour. Everyone else was doing 40 or 50, waving their fist at me. But I am telling you, we are talking ankle deep snow on the I-70. But what an experience. I mean, talk about build the trepidation of what fabulous skiing you're going to experience when you get there. Very, very exciting. So getting into the nuts and bolts of it, it's the premier resort, Beaver Creek. What is Beaver Creek actually like? So when you arrive up at Beaver Creek, you drive up a relatively wide mountain road, not too bendy. It's lined with the international flags of all the world, and you arrive at a roadblock. Gentleman with a peaked hat and white gloves comes out, asks you who you are, if you have a reservation, how do you enter the resort before you can even get anywhere near the resort. Yeah, so it's a complete roadblock. You can't get. Are there any flat? I mean, if you're from a country without a flag on that road, are you immediately turned away? I haven't tried that actually, but it definitely gives you that true sense of arrival. I mean, the kids in the back, I have been there before, so I knew what to expect. But obviously the kids are a bit older now, sort of heading on 14, 15 and 13 years old. They're like going, whoa! Wow. As this guy steps out, you know, hi there. I won't do the American accent, but hi there. How can I help you? Yep, we got a reservation. What's the name, please? Yep. Okay, name's Killinger. Where are you staying? We're staying at the Osprey. Oh, yeah, very good. We've got you booked in. So he chalks up on the windscreen the fact that we're allowed into the resort, tells us where we need to go. So it does give you that real sense of, wow, we are going somewhere. This is pretty damn, this is special. So we drive up into the resort. We stayed at the Osprey, very nice hotel. It's a more traditional hotel. It's one of the oldest hotels at Beaver Creek. Again, quite a nice sense of arrival, big canopy, so you haven't got the snow coming down on you as you drive in and unload your luggage. It's slick, you know, it is a nice hotel. It's not super high end. It's just nice. It's just a nice hotel. Great thing about this place is massive bedrooms, massive bathrooms, really nice sort of breakfast area downstairs where it's all very firesides. They've got a big fire going, roaring fire on the stone fireplace, and a buffet style breakfast, very casual, so it's not stuffy. You can sit. I love those American buffet breakfasts. Exactly. I mean, it's terrible, but whenever I'm there, I do the hot every morning. I'll end up doing the pancakes, bacon, and eggs with a stack of maple syrup poured all over it. And I'm like, I don't care. You know, you've got to ski hard to work it off, haven't you? You have, but it's a mature hotel, and it's modern. It's modern, well, modern enough. It's not what I would call a modern hotel. It is a mature hotel, but it's slick and classic. Lovely big bedrooms, lovely big bathrooms, great big hallways. There's no sparing of space. And then where you have your breakfast, you can walk on through to a sort of boot room area, not like you would traditionally known in the French resorts where you go down into a big locker room, a boot room area, a valet guy who's going to hand you out your skis and make sure your boots are all been on the warmer and the buckles have been done up. And the great thing is in this hotel is if you trip out of the back door, you're straight on to the, I think it's called the Strawberry Express lift. So literally, as you step out of the back door, I think they say it is the closest hotel to a ski lift in North America. It's that close. You literally, as you're opening the door, you're banging it on this lift.
I am surprised that the North Americans haven't actually built a hotel with a gondola station inside the lobby.
What are Vail Resorts thinking about?
They should do that.
So, and then if you go, it's called the Strawberry Park Express lift. I just checked that. So that's outside the back door. Okay. If you go out the front door, you literally cross the road. You have a big arch of twinkling lights. It's like permanently Christmas there. And you're straight into the pedestrian village. So it is spectacular. There is absolutely no getting away from this. Rooms are nice, plenty of space for all your luggage. So you're not struggling to trip over your bags or hang your salopettes up. It just all feels great. So it's a big tick in the box on all of those fronts in terms of its locality. You don't need the car from then on, by the way. Once the car's parked, that's it. You're not going to be using that again until you disappear somewhere else. So everything is walking distance. The resort centre is all pedestrianised, all heated pavements. So there's no ice, no snow to slip over on. All escalators as well, so you don't walk up any stairs. It's all escalators, all external escalators. So you're outdoors, but just escalators to take you from one shop to the next lot of shops, or to the ski area where you get on the gondola or whatever. Right. So yeah, I mean, I can't emphasize enough. You are talking so that the resort, the pedestrianised area, is a large ice rink. And then a load of shops, bars, restaurants, galleries, and all that around the edge of the ice rink. Very slick. Lovely restaurants. Not all, not Michelin stars type stuff. That they have got that, but most of the restaurants are just very nice, good restaurants. Yeah. Nice coffee shops. All the resort, obviously Vail Resorts, they own the resort, but they own all the ski hire. They own everything there. So everything is slick. So you only need to walk in. They know, once I mentioned the name Killinger, the ski pass was sorted. Any ski rentals that we needed, it was all sorted. Round the edge of this ski rink, beautiful galleries, lovely restaurants, coffee shops, places to eat for breakfast. It's just lovely. And then it's definitely got a reputation for foodies. There's no two ways about it. I mean, you want to get they do like a cat ski ride up to a place called Ali's Cabin, which is absolutely fantastic. I mean, if you like a tomahawk steak, great big open fireplace, stone-filled open fireplace where you're having incredible cuisine up there. It's expensive. Our tomahawk was $150, I think. Yeah, right. Got Zach's, you got Beano's.
But you probably feed your family on that. I mean, I know it's still a lot of money.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but that steak is not for one person, right?
No, we shared that between two. And you go up in a snowcat drawn sleigh. Yeah, so it's all very slick. Obviously, there are plenty of other restaurant options that aren't expensive. We went to a place called Citria on the first night there. Really nice Mediterranean cuisine, pizzas, pastas, all that sort of European style food. So very, very nice indeed, but using all the finest Colorado ingredients. So the service is there's no two ways about it. The service is super slick and second to none. They love us and, they want to serve us and they want a good tip at the end of the day. Look, I'm not going to get away from the fact that if you're going out there wanting a pizza and a plate of chips for $10, this isn't the place for you. But equally, it isn't going to absolutely bust your bank. It snowed a lot. We arrived at the end of March thinking it would be spring skiing. It's probably the best spring skiing I've ever seen in my life. So the first day out skiing, fresh powder up to our knees. I mean, it was super good. There is something for everyone. If you want super adrenaline-filled skiing, you've got the Alpine Skiing World Cup, super steep slopes, birds of prey race course. Families like ours, we wanted to There's massive, great, huge learning ski areas. They've opened up a huge area called McCoy's Park, which is super cool. You don't get the whole pisted poles at the side of the runs and everything. You can just ski anywhere, but just don't ski where it's roped off or where they've put a big cross of poles. So you do feel like you're kind of free riding. You can ski around an area, and honestly, 4 of you can ski all day, every day, or even just around that McCoy's Park area, and every run feels different because there's loads of trees and bushes and little jumps you can do. It's typical, extra wide terrain. You could ski all day. It's just good, Rob. It's really, really good. And obviously we did have fantastic ski conditions. Then you arrive and they've got like an ice cream parlor on the slopes. You go in there and get massive, great Knickerbocker glories with all the sauces over the top and sweets poured over it. They've got a whole sweetie cabin where the kids can go in and scoop up your sweets. It's all pretty typically American, but it's slick. Yeah. The skiing's really nice. The whole family enjoyed the skiing because you can get the sort of steeper ski runs and skiing down through trees, and you can get this really nice sort of rolling, bluey red type terrain between trees and bushes, and everybody taking their own route down. Very, very different from the alpine skiing we know in Europe, where everyone's skiing down one run. It just doesn't feel like that.
Right.
So, I don't know whether I'm enthusing about this enough, but, we did have a fantastic time. The next day, more powder, so we're sort of 2 or 3 days into April, and it was snowing pretty much every night and every day.
What's the altitude there then at Beaver Creek?
Beaver Creek's 2,500 meters at the base.
That's the resort height.
That's the resort height. Yeah.
Right. Wow. It's high.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think of, the highest sort of resorts in the Alps, places such as Val Thorens or Chevigny, it's higher than that, right?
Yeah.
And do you know what it goes up to?
The top elevation of 3,500.
So you've got 1,000 meter vertical, and you've got a base of 2,500. Yeah, I mean it's high, isn't it?
Yeah. Some people would argue that it hasn't got the charm that the French resorts or the Swiss resorts have got, or Austrian resorts or Italian. Won't leave out the Italians. But for me, I love it.
It's different though, isn't it? You say charm. I mean, of course, I love the European ski resort experience and that sort of, those traditional alpine towns and the sort of wooden huts you get on the slope that have been there 100 years and they've turned them into restaurants. All of that, we love about European skiing. But America does do all of that sort of that stuff well, don't they?
They do.
The restaurants and the town, like you say, that kind of very smart, but also sort of that Rocky Mountain kind of look, those lodges and the wood. And they use all of that and the stone and the architecture. All of that stuff in America is also pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And it might not be as old as in the Alps or, have the quirkiness in places maybe. But, it still looks great.
Yeah, it does. It's not... It doesn't feel uncomfortably flash. It's not like you do feel like it's a ski town still. I mean, it's a smart ski town. There's no two ways about it, but it does still feel relaxed and fun. And, they have cookie time at 3:00 where all the local bakers come out with fresh cookies for the kids. That's all free. They're just walking around and you get this waft of sugary smelling cookies that's going on. It is, it's typically American, but it's very, very fab as well. The kids are loving it. You can go ice skating in the evening while you're enjoying like food and drink. They've got open fires outside. They don't seem to be so worried about the environment. And the other great thing is you don't have to go there and have like a week there or 2 weeks there. They're so close to, we skipped on to Breckenridge and Vail, and you can head up to Aspen. So easy from there. We headed on to Winter Park. We headed on to a few other resorts. So, you really can turn it into quite a ski safari if you wanted to, and head on to multiple different resorts and hit a lot of Colorado. Yeah. So we've got plenty of bucket list destinations still to talk about. Moving on to next listeners' questions. What have we got here, Rob? What have we got in listeners' questions?
Yeah, we've got a couple this week. I quite like to just think that we can do this off the cuff, Dom.
Yeah.
We've got one from Brian Warner in Hertfordshire. And Brian is saying, I'd like to experience a multi-day ski tour this season. Any ideas?
Multi-day
ski tour. So I guess
that's a bit of view,
in huts or and ski tour. Funny enough, I've learned about a new 4-day ski tour this winter in Carinthia. It's called the Knockburn Trail.
Yeah,
it's 4 days, and it looks to me, I haven't done it, but it looks to me like it's kind of slightly soft touring. It's not hardcore.
Yeah.
So in other words, the like each day it averages about 16, 17 kilometers a day overall, which is not a lot. Yep. So it's kind of pretty mellow. Skiing isn't particularly super difficult or anything like that. And the accommodation every night is actually sort of more resort based than mountain hut based. So if you like a little bit, comfort in the evening, not staying in a mountain hut, but staying in a hotel, it looks really interesting. I can't remember the place it starts, but it either starts or finishes in BKK, Bad Kleinkenkirchen, which I can never pronounce.
Yeah.
And so it's obviously a ski resort in its own right. It goes through a place called Inner Krems, which is a ski touring only destination, but you can stay there the night. And it just looks really interesting.
Sounds pretty good.
I'd never heard of it before. But yeah, that sounds really nice for sort of that soft touring experience.
Very good. And we've also got Laura Bettingfield from Nottinghamshire. What are your guys' take on the best ski resorts to take the family at Easter? Beaver Creek.
You just mentioned one of those, haven't you?
Beaver Creek or Aspen. Easter. Yeah. So later season, you want good snow conditions. I mean, I had a great time out in Vaugirard for Easter. And that was really, really nice. Okay. If your family, depending on the age of the family. So many other questions that we need answered there. It's very tricky because we don't know about budget or age of children. That's true. Personally, if it was me, I'd probably head to Val d'Isère because I just think that offers such a lot. You've still got some height there, so the snow conditions are still going to be good. You've got loads of shops and bars and restaurants, lovely hotels to stay in, very convenient. It is a bit of a schlep from the airport. You have got a bit of a 4.5 hour drive out there, and you can get caught up in some traffic. So that's pretty tricky. Yeah. Equally, like if you catch some of that late season snow in the likes of, I don't know, Morzine and Leger and those sort of places. Absolutely. Or what about heading out to Corvara in the Dolomites and places like that? I mean, they're so beautiful out in the Dolomites, aren't they? And hitting the Sella Ronda. So many ideas.
Yeah. I think this season, actually, Easter is early.
Yeah.
So you could, it's an easier question to answer because actually at the end of March, beginning of April, generally snow conditions are still pretty good in the Alps above 1,500 meters.
Yeah, very good. Well, plenty of ideas there, Laura. If you need anything else, do drop us a message at hello@inthesnow.com. We can answer your questions in more depth if needs be. So that is the end of another episode, Rob. What do you think?
Basically, I'm sold on outdoors.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sold on Beaver Creek.
I want to go back. I'm also sold on Beaver Creek. I definitely want to go there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, a quick mention to the fact, Rob, that in January we're doing a 24 in 24 resorts in 2024. So we've got two lucky people, Ben and Clau, who are heading out on a bit of a trip of a lifetime, visiting 24 resorts. And they'll be doing that, bringing all the freshest content across the In the Snow channels, whether it be YouTube, In the Snow's TikTok channel, which is new to us, as well as Instagram and Facebook. Heading out in January into the French Alps, we'll start off with the likes of Serre Chevalier, Les Deux Alpes, Alpe d'Huez, Les 12 LA, and then heading into Chamonix, where these two got engaged last year. So that's really nice. Then there's no time to waste. They're heading straight on into Switzerland to take in the luxurious resorts of the aforementioned Crans-Montana and St. Moritz before they head for another 3 weeks in the Austrian Alps, visiting St. Anton, Ischgl, Kitzbühel, Saalbach, Meierhof and Solden. And finally, we'll head to the Italian Dolomites to end their 7-week ski marathon in Livigno, Bormio, Madonna. So it's going to be a pretty epic 24 resorts, 4 countries, 7 weeks. Pretty knackering.
Absolute dream trip, isn't it? think we should invite them onto the podcast as well, Tom, at some point.
I'd encourage everybody to follow us on Instagram at @InTheSnow_magazine, TikTok at InTheSnowMag, and the Whiteout podcast, which you're listening to now. And obviously, we will be catching up with them live on their travels. I'll send you that itinerary, Rob. What have we got next week?
Okay. Well, yeah, we've got an entire episode actually dedicated to Les Deux Alpes, where we're talking to Amanda Sanchez, who went to the resort 18 years ago to work a season, and she never, ever came home.
Oh, wow. That's so good. Can't wait for that, Rob.
It's happened to a lot of people.
Yeah, I know. It certainly has. So good news. Thanks for a great episode this week. Thanks, listeners. Don't forget to leave a review. And in the meantime, happy skiing, everyone. Speak next week, Rob.
Speak next week, Dom.
No, talkie-walkie.
Pretty sure it's called a walkie-talkie, mate.